The following is a series of threatening phone calls I've received from the account manager, Doyle, at Center Dermatology in Anchorage, Alaska. It's Dr. Thomas P. Center's practice. I'd gone here for the first time to go just have a routine skin check. Right before my appointment, I had an unexpected change in insurance. My new insurance didn't cover the visit as in-network. I spent the next 6 months talking with my insurance company, appealing the charge, and trying to get them to cover the full cost as an in-network with a copay. For those 6 months, I had called the office every week, every 2 weeks, whenever I got a letter, to check in with the front office and make sure it was still okay, that I was holding off on sending the full amount while it works its way through appeals. When it came time to settle the final bill when insurance wouldn't cover it, I negotiated with the back office staff, the account manager, Doyle, and settled on an amount to close the account for a lump sum. He was pretty rude to me on the phone, and when it came time to close the negotiation, I asked if he could email me a bill, and he had said that, you know what, I just don't feel like it. And I felt like that was pretty disrespectful, and it hurt my feelings. I left a review online, and in a couple of weeks, I received a threatening phone call and a series of threatening interactions. Well, I think that the calls speak for themselves.
Doyle at Hi, Cecil. This is Doyle at Dr.Senter's office. I would appreciate it if you could call me back. I'm kind of confused by your review on Google. I don't know that you recall that we waited 6 months for you to pay your bill, and then I also wrote off a good portion of your bill. So I'm just curious why you would write the review that you did. And just to refresh your memory, I told you that I was on vacation and I would be happy to mail you a receipt. And you said don't worry about it. So if you think there is something shady if I did not write off your because I didn't want to send you a receipt while I was on vacation, I'm happy to just go ahead and take back the adjustment. But I think that was very disingenuous of you to write that Google review. And I would appreciate it if you could give me a call back. I mean, maybe there's something else I did to offend you. I thought I helped you out pretty well. And I think that was very disingenuous of you. My number is...
So I decided to give him a call back today and at least leave it open that maybe somehow this was a misunderstanding and we could just, apologize and leave it at that.
Sorry you're holding. This is Doyle. Can I help you?
Hi Doyle, this is Cecil Brown. I'm giving you a call back.
Yeah, that was a pretty dirty thing, Cecil.
Well, I'm open to the idea that maybe this was a misunderstanding, so go right ahead.
Well, I guess I'm misunderstanding. I thought I would cut you a deal, and then next thing I know, someone brings a review in that says I should be fired.
Well, you were incredibly rude and unprofessional to me on the phone.
Oh. Well, I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah, I was acutely aware of it at the time. I was very insulted.
Oh. Well, sorry you were insulted, but, like I say, I think it's I think I left you a message. I think it's disingenuous, because I actually spent some time, I guess you don't recall that I spent a lot of time get a discount for you, and not only that, I'm the person that you were calling and leaving messages to for 6 months while you were past due.
Yeah.
That I sat and waited for you to make a payment.
Right. I had spoken with the front office staff, and they said that was okay for me to keep waiting while we appealed the insurance process to see if they would cover it. Doyle, do you think that it's somehow unacceptable for me to negotiate the cost of healthcare?
No, I think it's unacceptable for you to be disingenuous and say that you got bad service.
Oh.
And so, anyways, that's all I'm telling you. I'm telling you that
Well, I felt very disrespected that, you know, in the course of doing business, when I...
No, Cecil, here's the thing. If you would have been honest on your review and said, I was 6 months past due, and they worked with me, and then when I called, the guy took some time and looked around to see if there was any way he could discount my account. If you would have said that and then said, but he wouldn't send me a receipt, then that would be cool. But you didn't say that.
Well, I wasn't upset about the balance or the processing of the balance. Frankly, the phone call took as long as it should have, but I was insulted that I was being treated poorly. It sounded like I was being treated poorly because I was negotiating the bill. And when I asked to be emailed a receipt, maybe now, maybe later, maybe when you have time, you said, well, actually, I don't feel like it. And that is really disrespectful.
What I told you, Cecil, was that I don't email anything. We don't email patients anything because we can't afford the type of email system that allows us to do that.
Well, I had no idea. You said you don't feel like it.
And actually then I said, and I don't have any way to send you a receipt because we're not running it until Monday.
Well, that was not discussed. Anyways, you said you have no way of sending me a receipt.
I just want you to know that I think what you did was really disingenuous. And so I would like to, you know, the next person that needs help, and whenever I'm stopping and I'm thinking, should I cut this person some slack, I want you to know that you pass bad karma onto them, because the next person, unfortunately, the law doesn't allow me to use your name, but you're the one I'm going to think of.
Doyle.
When it comes to going the extra mile.
Doyle, that's something that you're going to have to inflict on another patient.
That's something you're going to have to live with because you wrote a disingenuous review.
And
you know you did.
Doyle,
don't you... like a baby review.
Doyle, don't you think that it's unethical for you to threaten to...
I'm not threatening anybody. I'm telling you exactly why, and you know.
Doyle,
you know, that's an unethical review. Write the whole review. Cecil, write down your whole situation here.
Sure. Doyle, don't you think it's unethical to threaten to reinstate a full amount because of something that was posted online?
Well, actually, no, I can do that. Actually, I can do that.
Well,
I give you a courtesy discount. I give you a courtesy discount.
Doyle, we agreed on...
I can do that, and you know, I might. I don't know, I probably won't, but I might.
Doyle,
I just want you to know that you know, quite honestly, Cecil, man to man, you know, what you did wasn't anything.
Doyle, we agreed...
in the realm of decency. And there's no way I can even go out there and stick up for myself.
Doyle, I called you because I wanted to clear this up, but we agreed on that amount. You know what? Like, just because I'm negotiating the cost of my bill doesn't preclude me from you treating me with the respect all of your patients deserve.
Well, actually, I thought I gave it to you, Cecil. And quite honestly, like I say, the bottom line is, you were not a very nice person on the phone, and I still went to the little bit of effort to find you a discount, and that's how I got thanked.
Well, I appreciate that we were able to come to...
I'm just telling you, you know something? I think your review was disingenuous. If you wanted to go on your review and write, you know what, my account was 6 months past due, and the whole time I was fighting with my insurance company, they were patiently waiting for me to pay my bill.
You know what, Doyle? Doyle, just hold up for a second. I'll go online, I'll edit the review, and I'll include that.
And then, when I called to make a payment, the guy actually tried his best to find me a discount. And then I got mad at him because he would not email me a receipt.
You sounded annoyed at even talking to me. And at the end of the call, you were extremely disrespectful.
You called after hours like we were closed? Do you recall that?
Well, Doyle, if I was after hours and you were in your office and you didn't want to talk to me, call me back a different day. Call me back on terms that you like.
I don't really care. I'm telling telling you that I think what you did was, like, kind of cowardly, but that's your thing. Whatever.
Well, I'm calling you because I'm not a coward.
Don't email those receipts, and I just want you to know. I mean, I'm telling you man to man. I think that what you did was really disingenuous, and you know it. And I appreciate you calling me back. At least you have the guts to do that.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Well, can I ask one last thing?
Sure.
Is there any way that I can get a receipt? In the mail, whatever.
You got a receipt. The girls mailed you a receipt. They mailed you a credit card receipt.
Well,
you were in the process of moving, and you didn't. So I said, mail him a receipt to the last known address.
Right. That address isn't current. It wasn't current at the time of the call.
Yeah, well, the thing is, that's what I'm telling you.
Yeah.
And we went through this, but apparently I'm a jerk because at the time...
Well, listen, you get services, you bill for services, you send a receipt. It's just part of the process, man. It's not me trying to slight you.
I'm just telling you, no, Cecil, you slighted me, dude. And quite honestly, if you get services, you usually pay for services at the time of the services, and you didn't have to do that for 6 months. That's what I'm focused on. You know something? Do you know how hard it is to keep someone from going to collections? Believe it or not, it's harder to keep them from going to collections than it is just to let the account go.
Well, I appreciate your front office staff's courtesy up until this point. They had been very thorough, and they let me know that everything was okay until I got this sorted out. And when the time came to negotiate the bill, because, within a week of me getting that information from my insurance, I had given you a call because I knew that you guys were doing me a favor in holding that bill off. And I wanted to get back to you as soon as possible so you weren't holding on to that tab. You were really rude. So that's just...
Yeah, well, I'm like I say, you can...
If it wasn't okay for me to hang on to it for 6 months, I would have believed that your front office staff would have told me. We're not exchanging Christmas presents, Doyle. We're doing business,
Actually, Cecil, you were getting letters.
Yes, and I followed up on every single letter.
And I saw the final notice, and you actually spoke to me, I know of twice, calling about your bill. I mean, I guess you don't recall that.
No, you must have been pleasant.
So, yeah. So I talked to you twice, and apparently I wasn't very rude on those 2 times.
No, 1 out of 3 is okay.
Yeah. So anyways, I just want you to know it's bad karma to have someone do something nice for you and then stab them in the back.
Well,
and so whatever, I don't really care. But you know what, Cecil? I have like 2 other phone calls on hold, and the only thing I can do receipt-wise at this point, if you want a receipt, I can send you an account statement. But that's it. I have no receipt anymore because...
That's fine if it's not the credit card receipt. If it's just the account statement saying that, this patient had such and such balance and it's been settled, that's fine with me.
What's your address?
Yep, and I'll go online and include that I was waiting on my billing for 6 months.
Yeah, and then we bothered to give you a discount.
Yeah, I'll also put that I was negotiating the cost of the final bill. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think it's chintzy. I'm just telling you straight up.
Okay.
And I think what you did is really cowardly. I think you were upset about having to pay your bill.
No, not at all. Of course, you pay for the services that are rendered.
What you did was extremely cowardly. And, there's just no going around that. And...
Well, I think it's incredibly unethical to threaten to reinstate a bill that's already been negotiated based on something that's been said online.
Why we do that, Cecil?
Yeah.
We do that so that...
To harass your customers?
At least people can, even if they're a little upset.
Yeah.
Like in your case, at least they're like, well, at least they cut me a break. So guess what? obviously that doesn't work, so I'm going to quit doing it. And then I'm going to name it the Cecil Brown Can't Give the Discount Award. You got it. So in 2016, whenever the issue comes up, and I'm like right on the fence, I'm going to say, no, there's a guy named Cecil Brown that stabbed us in the back anyways. Why bother?
It's extremely sad to hear that you treat your customers that way. So.
Well, I think we treat them pretty well. I think that the problem is, I'm just telling you, the way you did was cowardly.
Doyle, when a customer...
You call up and say, hey, actually, you know what, Cecil, do you remember we sat and talked about Arizona? Like, I just kept trying to figure out how I was rude to you.
Oh, it was the, it was saying, you know what, I don't feel like it. That was, I mean, you should never say that to any customer. That's the crux of it. That's why I left the review. I don't feel like it.
Oh, well.
I mean, that's a rude thing to say to any customer under any circumstance. And I was left with the understanding that I would be unable to get a receipt. So if that's the misunderstanding, all you need to say is, I'm sorry, but you made it into this big ugly thing where you're ostracizing theoretical, hypothetical patients in the future in my name, which is just petty and weird, man.
I'm trying to figure out why it wasn't a big deal. I mean, do you think that if I went online and said Cecil Brown is a deadbeat that doesn't pay his bills and then whines about his bill when he gets it, do you think that would be no big deal to you?
I think that most people understand that it's perfectly acceptable practice to negotiate the cost of health care.
Oh, but I'm a Melvin?
That was the word that came to mind when you said, I don't feel like it.
Uh-huh.
And clearly the word that comes to mind when you think about me is deadbeat. So that's just how it goes sometimes, Devin.
Well, no, I mean, like I say, I'm just telling you, you know what? You got good service. It was a chintzy thing that you did. A lot of people bent over backwards.
Your front office staff was very polite and helpful to me.
Yeah. Well, guess what? So, yeah, writing the review, it really helped them, didn't it?
Listen.
Yeah.
You can't expect your customers to like your service. It doesn't automatically become good service because you think it's good. It becomes good service because your customers don't leave insulted. I left insulted, so that's why I wrote the review.
Well, like I say, see, you and I have a different perspective on that. Because if someone let me slide on my bill for 6 months and then cut me some slack, I guess I wouldn't be that insulted. I would be like, well, hey, they worked with me.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, well, I know. I see how much you appreciate it. You put that appreciation right in your review. So, anyways, I'm sure you'll write another review. So, like I say, I just want you to know that I think what you did was really chintzy. I mean, you were willing to call me out online, kind of anonymously.
No, I use my full name.
So, anyways, I just,
And I'm calling you right now because I want to give you your time.
Somebody that would, that actually really did screw you over what you'd say about him. So anyways, you'll get an account statement.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And you won't have to hear from me ever again.
Your receipt, I don't know where it's at.
No, that's fine. Just the account statement is fine. The account statement is fine.
Which is actually what we discussed. I guess my thing is I'm still confused, because we had that discussion.
So what are you still confused about?
You don't go by Cecil. What do you go by?
Timothy Brown is my legal name. Cecil Brown is a chosen name.
actually, you know what? They did send your receipt to that address.
Oh, okay.
I mean, they sent it whenever you made the payment.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe.
Unless I changed it when I talked to you, which I probably did.
Oh, okay, that sounds right. Maybe it just got lost in the thread.
I asked for the address.
So the account.
Again, like I say, I think like I said, you know what, Cecil? I'm just telling you. If you just said, hey man, that kind of hurt my feelings, while I was on the phone, I'd have been like, oh no, I'm not sending you a receipt because we're not open.
Right. Well, it did hurt my feelings.
But, yeah. So I guess that's my point. And, like I say,
So the account is settled then?
Well, I don't know. I'll see what your review says.
I'm calling to make sure that the account is settled. You can't hold people hostage for their First Amendment rights based on the reviews they give you online. That's unethical.
I'm confused. One more time?
You can't hold people hostage for extra amounts based on the reviews they give online. That's unethical.
Well, Tim, I'm just going to ask you this question. I'm going to tell you, actually, I probably will not write that back on. Not because I can't, but because I wouldn't. But I'm going to ask you this question. Why do you think I wrote that off?
You wrote it off because it was an outstanding balance that would be settled right away if we paid it in a lump sum.
Tim, was I required by law to write that off?
No.
Do you think maybe I wrote that off because
But
99.9% of the time? Do you remember our conversation about that?
But as an accountant, it's best to clear your books of an account.
You know what? That doesn't matter to us. We have people that we carry that send us $2 a month. Why do you think I wrote that off? I'm just curious, in your mind. Like, let's take all the negotiation out of it. Why do you think I wrote that off?
To settle the account.
No, Tim. I wrote it off because I kind of felt sorry for you. I mean, you know what? You're talking to the person. So this Melvin right here is the one guy, like one of the last people in the country that stops and helps people change tires.
Okay.
So I wrote it off trying to help you out. That's why I wrote it off. I wouldn't write it back on. But quite honestly, just so you know, in the future, wherever else you go, they don't have to abide by that. If it's not a contract with an insurance company, and it's not in writing, that they're writing it off just so you will clear your account, and that was never insinuated with us. I wrote it off because I was trying to be a nice guy. And that's why I'm so offended by what you wrote.
If you were to change somebody's tire and somehow they were to offend you or come off as ungrateful, would you go back and slash their tires?
No, but you know what? If I wouldn't have told you that I was going to write it back on your account, I don't believe you'd have the nerve to call me.
Oh, yeah, it's completely unacceptable. Yeah.
Yeah, well, no, I can't. I'm just telling you right now. If you don't believe me, go ask an attorney. I can write it on. If I want to write it on, I could write it on. Now, I wouldn't do that. I'm I'm just curious in your mind why you think I even gave you a discount in the first place. And see, you don't even have that. You can't even fathom that someone might do something just to be nice.
Yes.
So it's pointless to argue with you because quite honestly, you don't see that.
Yes, I'm a Grinch. I've never helped somebody change a tire. You know.
Well, I can see that.
You listen to Kenny G, and I listen to, you know.
You don't see it from my perspective. So, anyways, sorry for the misunderstanding. Someone will send you an account statement as soon as they get them printed out.
Okay.
We don't send those out right away. Actually, you should have got something in the mail even on that because of the end of the month.
Yeah, I'll double check. Thank you.
So, yeah. Which is another thing I think I told you. So, anyways, yeah. Well, you take care and have a good life.
Yeah. Merry Christmas.